out there? Hope y'all are having a good evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. Hello, Video Land, YouTube, where I usually upload these videos at. And I wanted to make a video tonight, and I've been noticing certain individuals, and I'm a kind of person I normally lately try to stay out of the mainstream and not try to throw my opinion unless there's something really going on, and I've sat back for years and watched certain individuals and what was going on with everybody's making a comment on this individual and what is the problem and what should be the solution and why this person keep acting the way they do. And so that's what made me do my commentary. And so the latest commentary I want to do is about Umar Johnson. And I know that's the big. When I saw Umar Johnson, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, wow, this guy seemed like he at the time he saw his head on his shoulder at the time, and he spoke very well and intelligently, and at one point in time it seemed like he had something going on for himself. He sounded like he's very articulate and with his words, and just seemed like he knows certain about child psychology. I mean, human development of children and everything. But lately, my opinion over the last couple of years, you kind of look at someone a little bit different than what you expect. So I started watching some of his videos and watching some of his lectures, and I would look at this guy and just like, wow, the way he talks to people, like, he's one of these people feel like he got 6 degrees. That's so what he says. But he's talking to these people that's not, they're not to me are college educated. Some are high school people, some maybe, who knows it, and he gets these vulnerable people, and they know that he preys upon a situation where, yeah, it may be true about some of the data, some of the stuff that he says about the data about the children, about how the way the government gets money and things like that. Some of the stuff he says is true. However, when you start having people coming across from not just 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 people, and you might say, well, maybe they're just hating on somebody. Maybe they just, being, maybe something else going on with them. But no, it's to the point that when you really sit down and you listen to an individual, and 1 minute he's here, and 1 minute he's clear over in right field. And it got to the point that even that his videos landed on Facebook. He was on Facebook over there. And the funny thing about it is, I have a cousin who was a professor in Washington, D.C. And when she's always on Facebook. I mean, because I think she does most of her lecture. And she's about 2 or 3 years older than me. And she saw it, and she saw how careless he was acting and everything. She chimed in on it. And she don't really come over to YouTube. She usually mostly on Facebook, throwing up political things, and she's very like kind of like an activist / professional professor. She's for LGBT rights and everything. When I saw her start commenting on it, and where my family's at on Facebook, I knew something was like, wow. I wouldn't expect that this would come across over in Facebook, that she would come across this article or this video about Umar Johnson. And I have watched him over the years, and it seems some point he started to change. And you see, and it's pretty bad that there is one woman who's a psychiatrist online, and there was a couple other people who are. One was the guy was a reverend, and one guy and there's a couple other people who deal with people who have, people, adults, and pretty much, whatever you could diagnose with a child, you could diagnose with an adult. And she specializes with family and children too. From what I understand, she's on the West Coast, and it's pretty bad that she was breaking his analogy down, and that he's starting to sound like, it's something that a psychologist, and she's a black woman. She's a psychologist from what I heard. From what I got, she never shown her face or anything, but just by hearing what she says, she sound more balanced and professional. Yes, she's a proud black woman, but she's balanced in her assessment of a professional, and then how the way she present her argument online, consistent with Umar, is basically on, even though she don't go around using a bunch of foul languages. She don't go around, you can tell that she's very educated, but you can tell that she's a very intelligent woman from what I can hear of her voice, and she's really well known among the set of people that they making videos about Umar Johnson all the time. And so I mean, this guy, and they're not the only, maybe about 6-7 people. There've been like tons of people, just about almost up to 20-30 people doing the video on this guy, basically, where it's like, man, he's trying to do something, but he's not doing it in a constructional manner. He's not, the way he's not acting, having that balance as a professional, and particularly being an African American community, that you have a balance. When you are educated, there's a certain temporal you have to balance with people, and even though some people may not be, articulate on the way you are, but it's a certain way that you have. People have to see that balance, and people understand what balance is. If you want to get people to have their children come to your school, and you talk, but what I see is this guy trying to be like, he's trying to like some dude in the street, and he's trying to sound like he's some activist over here, and he's trying to be 2 or 3 things, and it's just that it's almost like this guy got a. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but even it sounds like some symptoms from what it's like a bipolar personality, and and it's crazy when you listen to this guy. And this was one guy, his name was Leonard Honor, and a few other people. There was one couple, EJ, and they make an assessment on this one guy, is King Kong crazy, and a few other people, and they making valid points. That is the way he expresses himself is like, when they see video of him and they talking to people all crazy and talk and calling children, little N words, and call them the other term for mental retardation, and just call them all kind of derogatory names that it don't even sound professional. And then at one point they made a good point that some of these kids I ain't gonna be able to help, but someone's gonna have to be put down to basically shoot them down in the street. I mean, I was like, damn. I mean, it's like, you talk about some kids like this? Like, wow. I mean, even though you got some real youth is trouble, but there's a certain way. You don't say stuff like that. You don't sit down, and even if they're the most, rebellious youth, whatever, there's a way you can handle even the most hardest girl and the hardest boy. Even if they extremely out there, there is somebody that can get to them, but it takes patience and it takes tolerance, and it takes the way you talk to them to get your point to go across. But his method was, I can't save all your kids, and I ain't gonna be able to save. Someone will have to be put down the street. So he spoke practically like a curse over people. Like, and this is what's happening. There's some youth being put down in the street that they would, and some of them are little kids that he wants to come bring to his school that are across the country that are being put down. But he's not even conscious of the words that he say. That it's sometimes not always the kid that's acting, irrational or anything. It's the kid that's really maybe has some behavioral problems, and that's something you don't say that to a room full of grown people and family, because people who have children, some people that really love children, they take that very too offensive, because it's like you talk about my personal kid, that stirs something up in them. So I'm listening to this guy, man, and he's trying to tell them what the parents gonna tell the parents what he expects for them to do. He gonna lead them. He said, no, you ain't gonna have no say so. Once they in my school and my care, I'm gonna do what I want to do with them. And I ain't gonna. You gonna be putting. And he was making comments about what kind of fake hair the girls are having. And then at one part of the video, he's talking about a young girl saying not even a terminology that black professional. He called one video, and someone's pointing out, a thoughtish personality. A little girl thought this is where she getting all these fast feelings from. I mean, who talks like that? I mean, it was like, wow, I've never heard any black professional, psychiatrists, doctors, medical doctors, psychiatrists ever talk like this. And I don't even know how. I mean, even the most balanced person know not to say something like that. And when you speaking on camera and you're trying to get people to come to your school, you can't talk like that. You ain't gonna have too many people gonna sign up because of how the way your person. And then you want to put schools all through the city, and in some places in Africa, and you acting like that. It's like, come on, man. I mean, you it sounds like Lynn Honor said, you need to sit down and get some help or something like that. Seriously, that's not normal. That sit down and do something like that, and then you have people are mocking you. They making an ass out of you, dude. I'm serious. I mean, they make all over. They make every day. I see something about you. Why some new subscribers saying that how much of an idiot you are. I mean, they basically saying how you used up all the money, and you haven't showed no proof for the school. Then the one guy pointed out the school was in a residential area. There were sexual predators was at. It was a high crime rate around the area. So why would somebody want to send their kids around some school like that? And then it's like they showed inside the school. A couple people showed the video inside where he's going to have these children at. The place is so jacked up. It has vegetation, plantation, and mold, probably asbestos in there, and everything else. And and then the electricity. Then you have to consider the water has been turned off for years. Then you have to put new toiletries for the bathrooms and things like that. And I mean, it's just unrealistically. And then the one guy that showed that there were a couple people that were willing to hook his place up because he said, well, I can get some black contractors. So black contractors was going to do it. The guy actually showed a letter that he sent on this one man's Leonard on a website that the guy was legit. He wanted to go. He's going to go help him out with the school. They want get a bunch of black contractors together, and if they can work out some kind of deal or whatever. And they was willing to do that, but he wouldn't contact them. I mean, it was like, wow, man. I mean, and the guy who's making videos about this guy, he's coming up with evidence and case after case after case on Umar Johnson. I mean, he's making his case right there. I mean, he got the document. I mean, and one other guy, he had on his video about how much the property, how much he owed. I mean, one person said how much taxes is owed on the property. And so he has to get up enough money to get it fully function, but you got to take care of this tax bill before you even start. I mean, just to upgrade the school and the taxes and all that, you're looking at almost another half or to a $250,000 just to get, or maybe more, just to get everything up to par and get up to school. And then, even though he have a small base of people that are willing to look past all those antics and everything, he just got a small segment of people that's selling so far. He's trying to use these spiritual conniving tactics about spirituality and all this stuff like that, tap into the ancient parts of Africa, worship and everything, and idols and stuff like that, and we gonna do this, and then one point that, it was look like it was something that I never seen, some ritual in Africa, some stuff he ever did, and I watched stuff online from people that different rituals they do out of different religions, and some stuff I never seen that whatever he so-called practicing. And it's just that this guy is way off base, man. I mean, and so I wanted to chime on in because my cousin knows this, and she watched the video, and I'm like, wow, this thing's on Facebook. And then it was like someone was on World Star Hip Hop. It got over there, and they were mocking him over there in World Star Hip Hop. Somebody mocked this dude. I mean, I'm like, wow. It's like, how can people take you seriously when you keep doing stuff, doing antics like that? And there's one part that he was on a platform with the one guy, Roland Martin, and when he had a TV station, and they were discussing certain things with them, with some other individuals online. He started calling the individuals out their name. He started calling them the coon word and all that stuff. And finally, Roland Martin said, "Hey, wait a minute, we ain't gonna use that type of language here." And, I mean, you see how it's like it was like some elementary stuff for someone who was supposed to be a professional. When you're a professional person, when you get in front of the public, there's a certain way people expect you to carry yourself. They need to see that balance, and this guy don't have no balance. It's hard to kind of talk people in a regular talk, but trying to be like you're a gangster, and I've seen people that and they showed one video where he got into a disagreement with somebody, and he talked about, and he got this color, start pointing out the guys, because the guy was lighter complected. He's a black man. He was lighter complected than he was, and he's talking about how dark he is and how tall he is, and I mean, this is something that is kind of, you're like, wow. And I mean, I watch him with these antics over the years, and I'm like, how can anybody take someone like this seriously? How is it that anybody will want to hear all this foolishness, man? And people, there are other black professionals that have to look at this and say, there's something wrong with this dude. It just, and I don't know if he know that. And then it showed his father that's trying to, try to back him up, and at some point, he made a personal threat on his own kid, kids, his mother and everything, and I mean, just some wild stuff, man. I mean, it was all over the internet, basically. And the one guy that usually does video, one of the guys that have done video on this, pointed this out. Like, you don't threaten your kids his baby's mama. What's wrong with you? And I like his term, like, what kind of man to do something like that? That's hilarious when he says that. But it's the truth. What kind of man does something like that? Then they brought up documents that he haven't paid his child support. I mean, so you sound like you about kids, but you're not taking care of your own kids. You're not living by example. And then he wants to teach about relationship when he don't know how to have a proper relationship. He's not married. So how can you teach someone about relationship when your relationships haven't worked out? You're not with your kids' mother, or was a steady girlfriend. And at some point, there was one of the latest videos. He talked about having a polygamous marriage, and here's a guy who don't have, technically, from what people are saying, don't have a foundational place to stay. From what they showed, he don't have a foundational job with a foundational settle down income to take care of a wife and children. But yet he wants the wife and children, and I don't know if he expected it doing all donations from people online, but it's really like I mean, you know, hey, everybody do what they want to do, but why would you want to send your kid to around someone like this? And then when you in some of the last couple of years, his lectures is just the man be going off the wall. He's talking in the camera and acting all crazy in the park, and he's yelling and screaming. He's saying, he's in someone's cemetery. He's chanting something and talk about the ancestors or something. Dropped it on his face. Must have came from the ancestors, and all this crazy madness. It's like that. It's like, dang, do anybody see something wrong with this picture? Whether you're a professional or not, you know that something isn't right with this person. But some people are still standing with them, and I've never seen, and I've been around, professional doctors, seeing doctors, medical doctors, psychiatrists. They don't even, if you see them out in public, they don't act like that, man. It's particularly if you go online and you're trying to, have a psychiatrist, yes, is a human being, and sometimes psychiatrists have problems too. But at the same time, when you're trying to get clients into your school or mentor the people, whatever, you got they got to see a balance in you. You can't go around talking crazy like that. You can't go around saying the problem with your girl is she had a thoughtish mentality. She's dressing like a whore. Basically that's what he's saying, and he's talking sexual terms and everything that it was like something from the street that he tried to put the street and try to make it so educational, but it was the way he said it was perverted as I don't know what, and it was like, wow, man. And I was watching the one guy who does, one of the few people that does live. People are just laughing at him and just like they can't believe how much of it. This guy is something wrong with him. He's I can't. He gets a couple things going on, and again, if you was a psychiatrist and you sit down and talk with this man, you knew that as a person who was a psychiatrist who was violent, it's like something ain't right about this person. He's supposed to have 6 college degrees and everything. That's what he said. But it's like, okay, where is your balance? Because see, people are educated like that. They carry a certain demeanor all the time. If you ever been around people who've been to college 5-6 years, they know not to conduct themselves like that. I don't care if they're homeless, they don't conduct themselves like that. In fact, I seen a homeless guy who had 2-3 master's degree, and they were interviewing, they were talking to him, and the man, I can tell just by talking with him how the way his terminology was. I could tell the way how he expressed. I said, yeah, this man is educated. And he had an unfortunate incident where he got sick, and he ended up on the street. He lost his job. He went on the street. But that professionalism never leave, because that's ingrained into you. It's almost like the military. Once that military ingrained into you, it comes out in a certain way. It's the same way you in the streets. That streets is ingrained into you. If you pick up the lingo, that street, even though I even hear some people that still try to change the way they present themselves, but they still got that street in them. That street, that wild tongue, the wild language and everything that's in them. But I just, one of the things you have to agree that that's just something that is not normal, and for and he don't even care that people are just he's making a mockery, and then he's not giving proper answers on where people send him over the past 10 years all this money. What you do with all the money? And he can't keep a straight answer. Then he gets offensive. What you do with all the money that they were coming, and it was some more money was coming? Where is this? There's no documentation. There's no spokesman for him. There's somebody explaining, oh, this is where the money's at. And there's the same thing that was like with this other person I did a video about, the guy with the Tulsa real estate thing going on. And it was like, wow, man. And he's trying to defend him, trying to be the spokesperson, but he's coming out all wrong. And then you got to show receipts whenever you get money. Someone give you that kind of money, and they send it hundreds and thousands of dollars to you. And they entitled to know what they want. Whatever someone send you money, and you asking the public to help you, they are entitled to know where their money at. If you trying to make a case, you can't just send somebody and don't think someone's gonna want to know where their money's at, and they're gonna show some type of receipt that they feel comfortable with that. Because a lot of people get money and they collect a whole bunch of money over a period of time, and they don't show no results. So when people start raising the question, at least, like, for example, you see some people and you'll see somebody go have a GoFundMe or something like that, and because they're trying to help this mother with a child, or some person who fell on hard bad times. But at least they put it in it, that they take that money and they go and get them a house. They go and get them if someone needs transportation, someone, and it actually showed the people giving them the money, and then going out and purchasing them a car. At least you show online is that hey, this, okay, people, whatever you contribute to, you donate, or you can send a receipt to their email or something to let them know that the money that they receive is going out. And one day I heard him getting all arrogant because he just, you got some nerd to ask me, you sent $25? You need to send $25 more. I was like, wow, dude. What's somebody gonna send you $25? And you, like I said, your personality, it's not adding up to who you. It's not fitting the image, and people starting to see you're not very professional. And one thing I noticed about some black people, when you get in front of a crowd of people, and whether they're working class people or they're living in a certain demographic or neighborhood, people expect, when you're a professional, they expect for you to be balanced and they be transparent. You can't talk like you something from out of the gutter, because like they won't take you seriously. And that's just a fact. Sorry, let's get over shit. And that people won't take, and that's the reason why people like this guy. People start to ask questions like, "What are you doing with the money?" And again, what do you mean I'm doing with the money? Well, you had collected almost $500,000 over the past decade. What you done with the people's money? Then you try to get other people. So if you're not gonna be credible and get someone's receipts of the people you have their money, if you show some receipts, people will stop mocking you and putting videos up on you all on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else. If you be transparent, and stop thinking that and it's something wrong with some people when they get money pouring in on something like that. They get like this entitlement attitude, And you don't realize that those people you ask donations for, they ain't entitled in money for it to put something into a product. They have a right to question, even if it is no matter how much the amount is. If it is a $25 or $200, just as, I mean, they it's their money, and they need to know right how to know where to spend that. And if you got that kind of an attitude, how you expect to get more money if you don't have be transparent and show people receipts online? This is what this went to. If we need more money, we need more donations. It's like you have been transparent with what you got, and what you have some representatives too that can back you up, that they are witnesses or something that they can bring out the paperwork and say, hey, this is what we done with the money, and put an estimate and itemize everything out. If you did that, people will back away. And I'm pretty sure the videos will stop. But dude, they've been on you behind for the past 8 years about this, and you're showing more and more this display of unprofessionalism. So that it's hard for them, and then it's so bad that the reason with the child support, because that might raise the question: did some of the people pay your child support, the money that you gave them? Because child support don't play. If you don't pay your child support bill, they come lock your behind up and they put you away. And I don't know. I think he live in Philadelphia, and I don't know how it is in Philadelphia, but I know like in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio, if you owe child support, they put you in the paper, and they come to the sheriff come looking for you, and you better pay that child support. And so, and no matter if you're unemployed, you better make some way to get some money. You better make sure you pay, and that's how it is here in Ohio. If you, I don't know how Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure Pennsylvania is even stricter. It's a Commonwealth state. But if you got some kids and you owe child support, they find out, and you making all these videos and stuff like that, they're gonna take that money. And then if you ain't paid no taxes or no personal tax audit, whatever, no, the IRS come audit you. And so, and then, I mean, you can get some serious trouble, and those people won't be happy about that. You can't keep running and dodging and skipping and scamming, and that's no way to live, man. That's no way to keep dodging. It was just like this other guy that they have on. This guy with the had that real estate. I mean, it's like almost 12 people looking for this guy. Money that he wasn't transparent with. He went around to these people with little bit businesses were able to throw out a couple grand or $2 or $3 or $4 grand or maybe more, and they want to know, okay, now that we invest in this product, where's our returns? And he's ducking and dodging and trying to live the high life and on these people's money. Is like, dude, these people want to know what you do with their money. And anytime you taking that much money from the public, I mean, people are gonna have some questions, especially whatever project, whether it's real estate or whether it's a school or something big like that. Oh, be prepared. You're gonna have to lay down the plans. And like I mentioned earlier, and then he was the same one that hoped that some celebrities would come by and throw some big cash at him. You know, this Umar Johnson, he think that someone like LeBron or what's called Steve Curry or someone else gonna come in and go build the school for black boys or whatever. I mean, these young guys are smart. They're not no dummy, man. And if they see what's happening to get on social media, in which they most of the time that they do on their days off, and get on Twitter and Facebook, and they see you screaming and hollering and talking all crazy, they ain't gonna send you no money. And people they see all the mockery videos of you because they're celebrities, but they got accounts that people follow them, and they have to come across the social media. You know how things come across the feed on the latest person. They see your face, and they say you hooping and hollering and acting crazy and everything, they ain't gonna send you no money. You're not gonna get no money from no Sean Puffy Combs, no Master P, and none of those people. Come on, man. No Nas, and Nas know what bullshit is. I mean, he's from the streets. I mean, some of these guys that were rappers, they from the streets, so they know bullshit. You're not gonna be able to bullshit. You can't run that game on them because they know game. I mean, some of the cats that's rich up there in New York City and them other areas, they know. They don't just when they got in the limelight and made that money. They were very cautious of who they put their money to because they gonna make sure they gonna get their money. And they got some high power attorneys. If you don't give them their money, they send them attorneys on you, and they got the money to do it. I mean, for example, ain't no 50 Cent gonna give it to no Floyd Mayweather. If they see you acting a nut online, I mean, and that's the truth. Let's be realistic. I mean, this is for the black community, but yeah, some people, they got people all the time coming at them. And they're coming up with some kind of scam because anytime you're in the limelight and people think you got money, there's a certain code you have to go by, even though you cater to a certain audience and things like that. But even them, they have a group of people around them that and it definitely one of the representatives have to check your stuff out. If it don't check out, they're not gonna write the check. If it ain't not legit, and especially if they get on, if some of the people get and they got Facebook account, and let's say all those wealthy black celebrities, whether they're ball players, actors, musicians, whatever, they got people that got YouTube accounts and Facebook account, and they see something like this guy Umar Johnson screaming and hollering, and people making videos of him, up there talking, up there screaming and hollering, and telling folk and calling their children little B's and little N's and everything else. Come on, man. I mean, that's unrealistic. And I don't know. A lot of black people, just because they're black, they ain't gonna accept your dysfunction. That's the biggest myth right now. We have to learn. Black people have to understand that not every black person is gonna wink, nod, and look to ahead. Because especially when it comes to dealing with their children, and when it definitely comes to dealing with their money. But I think that we got this, and I know that we got this kind of mentality that you should excuse my ignorance, just the way I express myself. If I have some criminality and con and crafty activity, I'm gonna look past that. It was like I was making a video one time, and it's like somebody from the streets, and they laugh at you because they beat up some white guy and robbed his money, and they said, "Why did you beat the white guy up?" You ain't like, "Well, he was white," and because one of the white boys, they always got money, because they what's up. So it's like you gonna beat the white boy up, traumatize him for no apparent reason. Then to find out the white guy that you beat up probably didn't have the money, but he used intimidation tactics on him, whatever. Because sometimes that's what some people do to get away with it. But you're just about as bad as someone who is just about as prejudiced. Now you made him prejudiced against black people because of what your stupid activity did. And it's the truth, is it? And then the same Negro come to think that he gonna come over your house and come in your private spot and come around your stuff because he that dude that will rob and take something. Now, why would you want to bring him into your place? Because when push kind of shove, when people are desperate and they know where they can get a quick lick, because some people got that kind of mindset, and they got that street hood mentality, and some people sometimes the devil will tell, as they said, the devil will tell on themselves. Some people will sit down there and confess stuff. You're like, damn, just sit around in the room. It's like, for example, let's say you was locked up in jail, okay, and you got a DWI or a traffic ticket. You sitting inside of a jail cell, and you don't want, and you hear a couple of brothers over there talking, hey, what's happening, shooting the breeze, and he get this kind of mindset, so I had to shoot the dude. Why? Because You know, why did you shoot the dude? What you mean we had to shoot you? You know how things go. How do things go? And it's like, hey, he had to give it up. He had that money. You know what I'm saying? We had to take it down, man. Hey, he had to go make that loot. He had to go make that loot. Now, you're like, but you cool though. When can we hook up? Oh yeah, I'm gonna hook up with you after you done robbed some doggone dude. See, some people, that's how some people are ignorant. They don't know what they're saying, but they figure that you black, that you should understand that they justify them beating something and robbing this person because times are getting hard and you have people will come across like that. If you haven't come across, trust me, it's gonna be a matter of time. As long as someone that look like you, they're gonna say some stupid crap like that. Hey, I had to make some fast money. I had to break in his car, man, take the guy's battery and break in his house, and well, he don't know, he ain't gonna miss it. Hey, by the way, let's hook up next Saturday. Yeah, not. But you got some people with that kind of mentality, and it's the truth. You got, and the reason why I say stuff like that because I've run across people that's like that. They just go and get it. They don't ask. They just go and get it. They just go take it from somebody. And they see, oh, you got that at the store open? No. Oh, you got that at the pawn shop? No, he didn't get that at the pawn shop. He did a 5-finger discount offer out of someone's garage. And then his partner must have jacked somebody up. And hey, that's sometimes that's the way, some people know that's the street code. And it's like, and that's why you have to be leery what kind of people you bring into your presence and listen what they say, because sometimes God will make the enemy tell on itself, and you just sit back and you might be laughing at the same time you listen like this dude is nuts, but it's the truth. And so to get back to what I'm saying, he's trying to sound like with him, he's trying to sound like he a street dude. Well, okay, you're a street dude. But then you try to be professional instead of just taking it to and speaking, articulate in the way, not just on personal video in front of another person, but show people you have some type of class, even in and out of it. And so because otherwise people, even some other black people, only take you seriously. And you like, man, they being stuck up, man. No, they ain't. There's black people that been around other people that know, like, the way you talking crazy, you talking with nonsense, and maybe that's why some people have to get away from people like that. Who act, everybody got that loud, crazy ass, person that, it's like they cool. Leave them down, when you go down into the lower part of town, and they part of that environment, man. And you just, but when you can't take them to another environment where you live, because they're gonna cut up and act up and be all loud, and someone look at them wrong, they're screaming, holler at them, they be ready to fight the person. The person is and scare the hell out of them, everything else. That there's some people like that, but get back. That's what he's trying to be, like that person when he try to do online. He trying to be talking about his goony goons and stuff like that. Like, come on, man. I got your back. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, look at it like, man, what is wrong with this dude? He 45 years old, acting like he's some like 19 or 20-year-old. I can see like a 19 to 20 to maybe 25-year-old being like that, because sometimes they're young. They got that, they got that hot head when they in their late teens or 20s. But damn, dude, you 40, you in your mid 40s going towards middle age, carrying on like that. You sound like a damn fool. I'm just saying. Then ain't people going to take you seriously as a psychiatrist, and you expect people, even single mothers, whether they're low, whether they're on assistance or not, but just the thought of it, the way you express yourself, it don't even sound like you legit. And this is what people have a problem. Is like this. He don't sound like he's not balanced in his assessment. He's not balanced the way he talks. He's doing all kind of things like his on his personal video, and he's talking like like some schoolyard bum off the street, and he's trying to sound educated, but he look like but he's telling like some schoolyard bum off, and with foul language and everything, and he's just raunchy, he's just foul, and that turned people off right then and there. Refer to women as thoughts and getting the cookies or whatever like that. Then he talking about you want a wife. Well, how you gonna have a wife when you don't have a job? You're not stable. You don't have a really stable place. Then you're unstable. They talking about you want to have 1 or 2 wives. Dude, are you seriously? People who have 1 or 2 wives, they got, people living like that. They at least got something going on for themselves. They got some business plans and a house, and they got a 5-6 figure income, and yeah, they could do something like that. But you trying to make money off of trying to get people to give you money for free off of donations, not from a legitimate business online, just donations for putting into a school. They got, people going, the kids gonna have to need food, and they're gonna have to need supplies, and some people at some point they should get paid for what they do, teachers and stuff like that, or teaching in school, because ain't people gonna do something like that for free at some point, because they need the income too. That, people gotta pay people that get work out of daycare. To look over someone's kids, let alone teaching. I don't care if there's an all black school or whatever, white school or whatever. People they're gonna need that. But it's just that this guy, if you ever cross those of you who don't know about it, they come across your YouTube feed, you see something about Umar Johnson, and someone saying about the money, FDMG. Watch that one of their videos. It's like they got like a whole list of people making videos about them just on YouTube, and let alone what's over on Facebook. But this guy, I never seen anybody like that. It's like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, wow. He's just, and I have watched videos in the past of someone like that. Is like, wow. And he's trying to run game on folks, and from the same neighborhood, from the same background, and you trying to run that fast talking, the white man versus our game and stuff like that. And yeah, we should have on, yeah. And come to find out that some people are conning you using the race thing, and they're not legitimate, trying to be a pro-black, whatever, if that's what you want to call it, trying to be for their people. They're trying to be for their own pocketbooks. They don't give a damn about the people, but they know how to say the right thing, and just to get a crowd going. Yeah, we're gonna do this, and because we need to get out the white man system and all that. Oh, okay, and then people fall right for it all the time. They don't have no structure to have your own system. They ain't laying out nothing. They're not having something to have people that want to bring their kids to their school. He just talk. If you see this guy, the way he talk, if you're a black parent, he's like, this guy sound like he's freaking nuts. I don't know, but some people, they'll try to justify his actions. And then you should see some of the people that try to justify his actions. They seem like some of them look like they were off the wall too. So it takes crazy to be around crazy. And some people, it's like, because any rational person know, like, this is not normal. But he used that because they live in the inner city and they don't know nothing. And he gets some education. The white man ain't gonna tell you about this. The white man ain't gonna tell you about that. You're going about the wrong way. And people believe that instead of doing some investigation and find out for themselves. They take his word. But some people are just, they believe anything, and then it's the way they talk that he's trying to get those people to get the way that people who are on system he calls people who on, like, if you a mother with disability or whatever. I gotta make sure we get those people with those crazy checks, the crazy checks. So now people who have mental problems, he called them crazy checks. This is the kind of, any professional who hear this know that you don't talk like that. Whether they black or they white or whatever, any psychiatrist or doctor, anybody that does study the human analogy, you don't conduct yourself like that. Even in your personal life, you have, especially get on a platform and you're trying to answer questions with people that have kids or adults that have emotional problems or psychological problems. You can't be talking crazy like that. Like, what the? You sure you a doctor? What the hell? You don't have the doctor's demean, and it's a certain way. Like I said earlier, you conduct yourself. People will take you seriously when you talk like you got some sense. But when you talk like you're talking like using street terminology to try to talk to a crowd of people and on Facebook or YouTube, you make yourself look like an idiot. I'm just saying, like, and trying to justify. Then he trying to make it to a language that's not even in the dictionary. Some of the words that he used, it's not even in the thoughtish personality. Like, what the hell? Your little girl's having a thoughtish personality. Imagine talking about your little baby girl that way. This is what this one guy was pointing. A couple people were pointing this out like this. And any little boy, kids that have. He called them retarded and stuff like that. And maybe they have some because they just retarded. Just come out and just say stuff like that. Don't call them mentally disabled. Don't use the terminology. Just call them. They just retarded. He just used the term in any little niggas on top of that. Little black boys. But this is supposed to be a pro-black person. Doesn't. It doesn't add up. Hey, if people think that's okay, that kind of behavior, to let a man like that teach your kid, and there's some people who are more civilized in how to deal with problem children, teenagers to adults. There are people, black psychiatrists, that talk like they got some sense. And there's some people who have a school for black boys or black girls. They don't conduct themselves that way. They don't talk like that. I've been around black professional people. I've met black teachers and educators. They don't, whether you catch them like you catch them on the off break or anything. They don't talk like that. And they'd probably be a black woman or black man, but even no matter how they talk to you, whether they're talking to someone in the media or they're talking to somebody, that professionalism part, that they have that balance, so you understand. But they don't have to get all the way hood, we nigga good and all. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gotta get all rowdy and loud and everything, cause that wouldn't be their character. Or that's Miss Johnson over there. She talking like that, and she works after school being a professional. Come on. There's a certain dignity, especially when you have a profession, and there's a certain dignity you uphold. Because people, when you have a certain dignity you uphold, people take you seriously. And that's why some people don't take some people seriously. For example, if you have a pastor and he don't have a certain balance, and he's acting all wild, he's cursing and swearing and trying to kick it in the hood like everybody else, are you gonna take him seriously? And because we define as holiness, because where is the change that God have changed him? if he's still cursing and sleep with a whole bunch of women, trying to kick it with the dudes, he's up in the club, whatever. I mean, you're not gonna take a person like that seriously. It's like, he's not balanced, or it could be a woman. She's not balanced, and that's the reason why people are mocking this guy, because he's not balanced whatsoever, and he's really. I mean, it's like, wow. It's like, that's got to be embarrassing. It's one thing you put yourself out there in the public, and you in social media like YouTube and Facebook is like almost like damn it, like on TV, like you get exposed on probably national news, because it's like a whole feed. I mean, everybody chiming in like, who is this person? So you have about millions of people going by the video, and they seeing like, damn, they hearing the video, and this guy sound like I see what you're talking about. This guy sound like a freaking idiot, and it's like, wow, and you're trying to get people to come to your school, and they see the crazy antics you put online. You're not. It's like, I'm gonna send my kid to someone to talk like this, and you also go over to Africa. It's bad enough some people think, some people from there think that we're not too bright here. Now you're gonna take that same crazy ass mentality over there. That's the last thing they need, somebody over there talking crazy like they do over here in the United States. There's some black folks that don't need to go to Africa. I mean, if they talk crazy and hood and all that, no, leave them Negroes here. No, with a certain demographic of people who are black, who talk with some integrity and got some sense, they can go to Africa. But not everybody can go to Africa. Just by looking at the way they conduct themselves. And there's some people that's from Africa would know that, like, no, you can go, but no, my family wouldn't accept something like this, because this person, he's an idiot. I mean, he would embarrass, he'd get someone beat up or practically thrown in jail, or get a village beat down over the way he's acting. I mean, the way he or she's acting. It's the truth. So you can't, especially particularly as a people, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard, especially you get online and you get in public. It's okay when you get off a line, you can cut up and act up when you're among your buddies, but when you get online, I'm just saying, people when you try to make an impression on people, or you're trying to sell something to people, you're trying to get people's attention, whatever walks of life it is, they're not going to take you seriously. And if you talk all crazy and all out of your head and swearing and cussing and acting dumb and getting in fights with other grown men like you in the schoolyard, nobody they ain't gonna take you seriously. It's like, man, these people are a joke. I'm just being honest with you, and it's scary that a guy like that would go overseas. I mean, it's like, wow, some people who act like that, they need steady butt at home. Because it's like, man, if they go over there and act and cut up and clown up, that would be embarrassing, man. Like, what kind of message is coming out of America? Who are these Americans over there acting a fool? And so, you go into some other part of the world, you got a certain standards. Because, you can't have the same attitude like you do over there. I'm just saying, because it can literally cost you your freedom. It can cost you your doggone life. And so it's good to wise up. And so some people like him, he need to stay in America. He don't need to go over it. He don't need to go back to no Africa, no other places. Because if they knew and they saw that video, how the way he was acting, the way Leonard Arnold and a few other people were showing, if they see it right now, oh my goodness, what the heck is this? They be saying it in their own language, whatever. I'm just being honest with you. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I rambled on, but it's just, I won't tell this video, about Umar Johnson. All right, then you guys have a good day. Until next time, you guys are blessed out there. Good night.